When I first started lifting weights, the first body part that I trained were my biceps, and I think this is the same for most people when they start training. This is because they're simple to train, aesthetic, and we all love that feeling of walking outside the gym with a bicep pump. But before we understand how to train the biceps, I think it's important that we understand their anatomy and their function. The bicep brachii is a two-headed muscle consisting of a long head and a short head, both of which attach at different points on the shoulder joint. The long head is responsible for arm rotation and shoulder abduction, or moving the arm away from the body. The short head is responsible for shoulder adduction, or moving the arm closer to the body. Both heads are responsible for elbow and shoulder flexion. A less talked about muscle is the brachialis, which is positioned on the outside of the arm. The brachialis plays a role in elbow flexion and is responsible for making the arms look wider and thicker from the side.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is, as having sex with a woman and coming.
Because the biceps consist of a long and short head muscle plus the brachialis, it's important to pick exercises that will emphasize each muscle without neglecting the other. Electromyography activity is a tool used to measure how much muscle activity there is during a particular exercise. Several studies have concluded that compound movements such as the wide grip pull-up and close grip chin-up result in significant EMG activity compared to bicep isolation movements such as the barbell curl. And although this is correct, these exercises are predominantly back builders, and in order to build great biceps, I think you must isolate them to the best of your capability. And the best way to do this is performing elbow flexion movements or curling exercises. Because the biceps are predominantly type 2 fibers, it is essential to train them using heavy compound movements such as the barbell or easy curl with the rep range in and around 6 to 8 reps while you have the most energy. Several studies, including this one by McCollin and Co., show that the easy bar and barbell curl show significant differences in EMG activity when compared to the dumbbell curls. However, I think for the best and optimal growth for you as an individual, it is important to train the biceps using exercises that you feel are appropriate to you, are comfortable, and you can progressively overload as time goes by. Moving on from compound movements, the next step would be to move into a single isolation movement where each arm is trained separately. Exercises such as the incline dumbbell curl put emphasis on the long head of the biceps. This is because when on an incline bench, the shoulder is in a hyperextended position, meaning the long head is stretched more, which results in more force produced. Another great exercise to isolate the biceps is the concentration curl. A study completed showed that EMG activity occurred the most in the concentration curl when compared to the Scott curl, the dumbbell curl, and the barbell curl. Finally, to end the workout, it is important to add a cable curl for constant tension and activation throughout the range of motion. Studies have shown that peak activation occurs in different stages of the range of motion, with one study by Oliveira and Co. showing that peak activation occurred at the top of the motion when doing the incline dumbbell curl. Because of this, it is also important to add cable exercises which will ensure that there is constant tension throughout the range of motion from the bottom until the top of the movement. What about your grip? Which grip works best for the biceps? Because the biceps work synergistically with the brachialis and the brachioradialis, switching up your grip has an impact on which part of the upper arm you train. Common grips include the hammer or neutral grip, the rotating grip, and a pronated or palms down grip. Besides the pronated grip, studies have shown that the hammer and rotating grip has a similar EMG activation when compared to the conventional supinated grip when performing the concentration curl. In fact, the hammer grip, noted for developing the brachialis, seems to work the biceps as effectively as the supinated grip, with studies showing how the level of EMG activity in the biceps was similar between the two grips. Grip width, on the other hand, does not play that significant of a role in my opinion. While it is commonly known that changing your grip will hit different heads of the biceps, with a wide grip showing that it hits the inside of the bicep and a narrow grip showing that it hits the outside of the bicep, studies have shown that a narrow grip decreases the EMG activity of the biceps by 13%, while a wide grip increases it by only 2%. So I wouldn't worry too much about changing your grip in this aspect. How often should you train your biceps? A number of studies have shown that training a muscle group twice a week proves more beneficial than training it once a week. The reason for this is, according to fitness expert Brad Schoenfield, because lifting triggers growth in the muscle for a period of 48 hours. When the 48 hours is over, you're no longer in a muscle building state unless you train the muscle again, which will spur growth for another 48 hours, i.e. training every second day. Because the biceps are a small muscle group, recovery from a workout is only 24 hours, meaning you could train them every single day. However, to ensure no overtraining, I would recommend training them twice a week. One session with a different muscle group such as your back or your chest, then another day where you simply train them by themselves.